Home. A word that has a different meaning to different people. It means different things to different people. This is my home. This was my home. Kentish Town, North London. A working class area full of working class people struggling to get by, but proud of who they are and where they're from. They had character. And the place had character, even though the architecture didn't. And I guess my first love of signs was from this sign. This was where I was first lived. And we look at that sign now, we see a tired place. We see a place perhaps has been forgotten about, and the world has moved on around it. And when I first started looking at these signs many years ago, I didn't read the words. I looked at the texture, I looked at the colour, I looked at the shape, I looked at the form. You see, I saw the world different to other people. You see, I struggled at school, and at the age of 11, I couldn't read or write. And when into my teens, I still struggled with education. When I was in the classroom, it was like torture to me, apart from one class, and that was the art class. My final exams, I barely snuck through, apart from one class. Obviously, it was the art class, where I excelled at. I finally felt I'd made something of my life, and I was extremely happy, and my mother was very proud of me. Then you come to talk to your careers advisor at the end, and they say, where do you want to go with your life? She looked at my results. She says, your grades aren't high enough to be an architect. Perhaps you should be a draftsman. Okay. So with that across my fingers, and I applied for jobs. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited. Finally, the day came. I got a job as a draftsman. There I was, drawing lines of buildings, day in, day out, photocopying. It wasn't what I expected. It wasn't creative at all. But it was a job. And coming from a one-parent family, it was just me and my mother, is what I had to do to help pay for the bills. 2 years have passed, and I'm walking home from work on Junction Road. And I bumped into my old art teacher, Mrs. Godfrey. And she asked what I was doing, and with pride, I says, I am a draftsman. She didn't say anything. And then she says, David, you have a fantastic talent for art, and you should be doing something with that as a career. Have you considered going to university and studying graphic design? I didn't know what graphic design was. And the thought about going to university sent a shiver down my spine. Anyhow, she convinced me. And over the next couple of weeks, she helped me put a portfolio together. And we applied. Before long, I was in the thick of it. I was studying colours, shape, form, texture, and I was starting to design my own signs. Now, South Auckland is my home. And now I am the teacher. And now I am teaching graphic design at AUT South Campus. And now I am able to give my knowledge to my students and encourage them to do better. Because that's what we have to do as teachers. We have to encourage our students, and we do not forget about our students. This was the school I went to, Auckland Burley. It's probably still there today. But what I'm going to talk about now is signs in the community, and how I see signs and what these signs mean to me. And some of you may recognise some of these signs. This is a sign of a laundry, and it's a piece of cloth. Perhaps it's been left over from one of the sheets in the machine. Who knows? It's repurposing materials. It's stapled onto a wooden frame. You can see the staples rusting. The name of the laundry has been painted by leftover household paint by the owner of the laundrette. The paint hasn't been left to dry. It's dripping as the sign has been hung. Have you noticed the D is back to front? These are rich. These are rich signs. These signs mean more than the laundry. They speak of community and they speak of trust. This is a garage. It simply says what they do. Brakes, CV joints, tune-ups. Nothing about no neon lights flashing saying, we are the best garage, we can do it in half the price, in half the time. They are known locally and they are trusted. And let's look at this sign. Look at the S's, how they are much smaller. Is this a mistake or was it done on purpose? It doesn't matter. It conveys the message. The brushstrokes can still be seen. There hasn't been a need to overpaint and disguise the brushstrokes. It speaks of honesty. Much like the garage owner is not going to rip you off. This sign here, everybody knows this is the place to go. So it's just a simple sign, just the number of the place, just so that the post can be delivered. These are what signs speak to the community. Now, we know this as warrant of fitness. To a non-New Zealander, what would this mean? Would they perhaps think it's something to do with dogs? Well, let's look at the construction of the typefaces. The W is totally wrong. You don't see W's like that. The O is too round, and the shank on the F is far too short. The space in between is all wrong. It's not balanced. But this is what makes it rich. This is what makes it really valuable. And this is what it makes us part of our community. Because we can trust these places. Now, this sign here is slightly different to the ones I've shown you before. This has been professionally hand-painted by sign painters, a talent that has virtually disappeared today. These were artists, and these were local artists that would turn up to local businesses, and they would design and paint their signs either on the windows or above their shops. And these were people that were trusted as well by the local business owners. This detail here of the sign, you can see that over the years, the rain and the bleaching sun has faded the paint. And the texture of the wood is coming through. This is incredibly rich to me, this sign. It's almost as if the sign is coming alive. It's maturing with age, like a good bottle of wine. But it's also as if it's alive, just like us, human beings. As we get older, our skin gets thin, it dries, it cracks, and it wrinkles. So we get character. These signs get the same characters. And these what signs are part of our community. Soon these signs will be gone. And perhaps we're moving into a new age. Perhaps we're moving into a digital age. That may not be a bad thing. Let's look at it. Perhaps you walk into an unfamiliar place, like a hospital. You do not speak English, it's not your first language. You can tailor-make your phone or your mobile device into your own native tongue. So you'll be able to navigate around that place and find out where you want to go. Your eyesight may not be that great. So you'll be able to magnify the signs, see what it says. Or, indeed, it could be voice activated. These are all possibilities as we move into the age of augmented reality and how they can be used in mobile devices. So, next time you're out, look at signs. Look at them. You may see something that you haven't seen before, like the talent Mrs. Godfrey saw in me. Thank you very much.